everyone. Welcome to the msmith.io podcast. I'm really excited about today. I've actually been looking forward to this episode for quite some time. We've talked about it. It took some coercing and convincing, but here we are. So today I'm joined by Jess. Jess is the owner and operator of Alloy Hair Studio. Super awesome hair studio. Does really good skin fades. We were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Super awesome hair studio out of Middletown. I don't want to go too much into the background of everything. I'm going to leave that to you because you'll probably tell it way better than I can. But hey, Jess.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
You excited to be here?
Yeah, we've been talking about this for like over a year, and then you had to join the military and like go away for some time, but here we are. So
now that we said that, anything I say is not an expressed opinion of the U.S. Air Force in any way. It is my opinion solely. I have to say that for whatever legal reasons.
Nice.
Yeah, we planned it. I went away. It's been a gangbuster of a year. So actually, 2 days from now is when I left.
Wow. That happened real quick.
Yep. 7 months I was gone too. So I was out. I did that. That's where I learned that I don't like Mississippi at all. 100% humidity, heat, all that fun stuff.
I mean, is there anything else in Mississippi that like?
A lot of fried food.
Ooh.
Barbecue shacks.
I could get down with that.
Flesh-eating bacteria in the ocean.
Great.
All that stuff.
Wait, Mississippi's on the ocean?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, where I was, Biloxi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh, and a lot of casinos. So basically everything I'm not interested in. I hate swimming. Like, I don't like gambling. I don't like the heat. You know, I don't really eat a lot of fried food. So it was perfect for me.
That's great.
Yeah. Opposites attract, but it didn't work. So
yeah.
Anyway. So I want to kind of dive in just about who you are, talk about Alloy a little bit, and then I'm probably going to roll into questions from there.
All right, cool.
So,
let's go.
Yeah. So if you want to just introduce yourself.
Yeah. So my name is Jess Parol. I am a hairstylist. I'm an educator. I'm an owner of a salon called Alloy Hair Studio, as we have already discussed. I'm an aerialist. I'm a wife. I'm a dog mom. I got so many things going on in my life, and I feel like I am a seeker of joy. And I'm trying to just like live my best life all the time. I've been doing hair since I was 16 years old. So this year is going to be 21 years, which is mind blowing. Time has gone so fast. It's been a very humbling journey and, you know, just doing the damn thing all the time, trying to balance work and life. I'm low key a workaholic. I'm always working on that, trying to be in recovery, but you know, sometimes you got to grind.
Yeah. And I think you have that natural, innate entrepreneurial spirit because I've known you since back in Montgomery before you had Alloy. And even the conversations we had then and talking about how you would manage a business, what you were like, all of the growth mindset that you had, all of the different business perspectives. It was super awesome. So to see that materialization already in the years since then and just to see it grow and see you put the personality and culture of what Alloy is out there into the ethos and the universe is super awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. So basically how that journey started is I started working at a salon when I was 17 as an apprentice. Went through the apprentice program, which I actually just got my first apprentice at my salon today. I was over there earlier today training, so my voice is a little raspy. You got the sexy side of me today.
You got the radio voice.
Yes. So I started out as an apprentice there. And after about a year and a half, my boss was like pushing me into actually becoming a stylist. I did. And it just kind of took off from there. When I was 19, he handed me the keys to a salon. He said, "You're going to run this." I was just like, okay. And I did. I did that for a full decade. And I think like, you know how you have one defining moment, which kind of just like throws the world into a tailspin and kind of changes your momentum. I broke my ankle and I had 11 weeks to live on my couch and think about life. And I decided at that point, it was time to like spread my wings and go and do my own thing. The culture of the salon that I was at formerly, they were kind of going in a different direction. It was very conservative. I didn't feel like, I don't know, I feel like I didn't really fit at that point. Like my culture was starting to go, like I had this like little micro culture in this tiny little like shack of a salon in Montgomery, New York. And a lot of the girls who are working there are actually with me today and my team. We were kind of like the land of the misfit toys. It was a very conservative salon culture. And then there was us. We were tattooed. We had the weird hair. We were just like a bunch of punk rock kids trying to figure out where we were fitting in. And I just decided it was time. So it's weird how it worked out. So by the time I made up my mind, my boss at the time was looking at another space in Middletown. It was like at a strip mall. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Jess, you know, like I found this really great space. We're going to make it a bigger salon. Like, and I want you to run it. I wasn't feeling it. I wasn't saying much that day. I was just like, oh shit. I'm allowed to curse, right?
Yeah. Okay. I curse. So cool. I usually play it out based on if.
Sweet. Yeah. No, I curse a lot.
Good.
Like.
Good. No, it's free reign then.
Yeah.
You know,
cool.
Caesar might yell at us, but besides that, we're good.
All right. So it was just kind of like, shit, like I've made up my mind. I want to start this journey. And meanwhile, this guy's like ready to invest like, you know, oodles and oodles of money into the space. And meanwhile, I'm ready to go. I can't do that. So, you know, he sent me a text message later on the day. He's like, hey, you all right? Like, you didn't really seem too into it. I was like, oh yeah, I'm just really tired. The next day, I woke up and I was like, ah, shit, I got to send him a message. So one of two things happen in the salon industry when you're ready to open up your own salon and you make that announcement. You're either going to get some love and support through that journey, or that day, they're going to tell you to hand over your keys, pack your stuff and leave. Because a lot of what will happen is poaching of clients. So you're taking their whole client list.
Yeah.
At this point, I knew that the lease was up in the building that we were in, which is why he was looking for a bigger space. And it was kind of like, I don't know, he was like my hair dad. Mm-hmm. He didn't do hair, but like, you know, like he raised me into this like young businesswoman. So I was like, all right, shit, like what's the worst that happens? Like I lose my job and I just have to go figure something else out. I can land on my feet. We'll be all right. So I was like, hey, can we talk? And we had a meeting at like Dunkin' Donuts or something. And we sat there and we cried together. And he gave me his full blessings to go ahead and do what I need to do. Just give him plenty of notice that he could get things going. So about 6 months, like who gives 6 months notice?
I don't
at a job.
Somebody who's valuable.
That was me. Yeah. So eventually I found like where I was going to set up. I found this like tiny little 200 square foot space in one of the salon suites. And there we went.
Yeah.
And here we are.
And that was embracing fully that like punk rock, you know, the culture that you had formed kind of slowly over time within the ethos of that grander salon, right? You just embodied it and brought it out from day zero, right?
Yeah, definitely. Salon, the first salon was cool. It was a cool vibe. I spent hours painting. I always spend hours painting. I don't know why I do that to myself and my neck, but it's okay. But like we'd play like rad music and we just jumped full force into doing some fucking cool hair.
Yeah.
You know, attracting cool people into our salon. I don't know, attracting the weirdos and the kids that don't fit in, or people who just think that we're cool and want to live vicariously through us. That's been our culture since day one. It's been rad. It's been a cool journey. We're super inclusive. So like, as long as you're not an asshole, you're welcome through my door.
No asshole policy.
Yeah, no asshole policy.
That's a good policy to have.
And like, I don't know, you have to have ownership over that no asshole policy. Like I've straight up told people like, hey, like we don't talk like that here. You know, if you don't like it, like I'd be happy to recommend you to another place. Yeah. You got to stay true to your culture. You know, like if we want inclusivity, we can't have exclusivity in the salon.
Yeah.
So yeah. And I'll go up to bat with anybody over that.
I think knowing in your core being the culture that you want to see exist is the difference as an entrepreneur of success or failure. I was actually just having a conversation before I came in here with somebody that if you don't prioritize the culture because the culture perpetuates the value perpetuates the sales, and you think you're going to just leapfrog over culture into value, you're going to have, you know, a horrible time, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So true.
And I think it's just in your being already from what we've talked about to make sure that that is out there and exists.
Yeah.
Right?
Culture is everything. So like as a business owner, I really thrive in culture and leadership. As long as my staff knows we're good, we're good.
Yeah.
You know, we have fun atmosphere. We're dancing, we're singing, we're having a great time through the day. Our energy is intoxicating. People love coming and spending like 8 hours with us in our chairs. They're having a blast.
Yeah.
I think there are some shortcomings I have within my business, but you know, working on it, like big boss energy and financials and numbers. I'm a creative.
Your favorite. You love numbers. You love projections. So just based on the conversations we've had, that's all you want to do.
Yep.
You don't want to do any of the creative stuff, just the numbers.
I love math so much.
Yeah. 2 + 2 = 22.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So, you know, always working on growing and just trying to make my business a more solid place. I think my heart's really in education. I don't know if you guys noticed the second thing I said about myself. I'm an educator. So for me, investing my energy into my staff and the future of the industry, so important.
Yeah. And you also do a lot of education in general with some of the additional credentials. And I know that's actually been an interesting arc as well. But you do like the seminars, you also do a lot of your own training for yourself to stay current and stay, you know, the best you can be. You want to speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So I am an educator for John Paul Mitchell Systems. I've been doing that since I was 23 years old. I freaking love it. They've invested a lot of time and energy into me to make me a better hairdresser, better business owner, better educator, just like all around a better person. When I go to those events, oh man, sets my soul on fire. I am just like ready to freaking go. So burnout. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm tapping things. Right. I'm wrecking the place.
Yeah, wreck it.
Yeah. So
don't
burnout.
Actually, he's upset. We aren't. I don't mean that, Caesar.
Start flipping tables over here. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. What was I talking about? Oh yeah,
the events.
The events.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I have struggled with, as I said, I'm a workaholic and I'm working on it always. Burnout. Burnout is a huge thing that's within my industry. I think every industry. And truly what I believe is the only way out of it is going and spending with your time with like really great professionals who are like-minded and creative and inspiring. That pulls you right out of that place of burnout where like before you go, you're like, oh man, I'm ready to hang up my shears. I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. And then you go, you come back, you're like, I am ready for whatever is thrown at me. So I've invested a lot of time and money and energy and knowledge and nights studying into education. And I think it's just made me like a better human.
What is it about that process that refills your cups? So I know you said it's like spending the time with the creatives, kind of doing something that detaches you from everything. But like what, if you were to summate it, is the thing that...
So you have your workshops and your classes, which are awesome. So great. It's all the conversations that you have in between. Learning other people's perspectives really, I don't know, it changes the way you look at the world, the way that you look at your job, the way you look at your clients. Perspective is everything.
Yeah. And then I remember the one event you talked about. I think it was in the desert or something.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So that's like a good example of one of those.
All right. So, whoa, what a time. So I invested into a camp called the Hair Love Retreat. And all right, so I have to kind of like tell the story, set the stage. So my husband, who's also been here before, Dan Hendrickson, my husband and I, we flew into Las Vegas and we spent a couple of days in Las Vegas doing like circus things and eating good food, having a great time, living our best life, air conditioning and swimming pools and all that. So good. Then we drove, we rented a BMW. I don't know why that was a good choice. It was not a good choice. We're in the middle of freaking desert. And we drive out to Utah over at Zion National Park.
Yeah.
We rent this really cool little Airbnb, has a hot tub, awesome. The one day that we had together there, we went on like a 10-mile hike down the Narrows. As we're driving through the desert, I'm freaking weeping. I've never seen anything so beautiful before. Like, I don't know, that part of the country is so intriguing. Like these big, just like larger than life rocks. Like it really makes you question, is there something greater than me out there? So we're driving through the desert. I'm crying. We arrive to our destination. We do this really awesome hike, spend time in the hot tub, again, living it up with like air conditioning, water, cool places to hang out. The next day, Dan drops me off to camp. Happened to be 114 degrees that day.
Yep. You got the full desert lifestyle.
Oh, sure did. So we arrive and I'm the first person to arrive at this camp. The only people that are there are the facilitators of the event. And we're tenting it. There's nowhere to hide from the heat.
My favorite.
114 degrees. All you have are like little cold towels to put around your neck. They tell you, hey, there might be a tarantula in your tent. Or like, look out for rattlesnakes. Oh yeah, don't forget to drink a gallon of water a day. And you're just like, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
Yeah.
So he has a flight to catch. So he drops me off and just leaves me in the desert. Meanwhile, he's like feeling all this guilt as he gets into his air-conditioned car. He barely makes it up the driveway.
BMW,
yeah, barely makes it up the driveway.
Away.
Just like terrible. So he's feeling really bad that he left me there because I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Why did I sign up for this? Why did I spend all this money? What a transformational experience it was. So I was out in the desert with about 120 hairdressers who are all for the same reason of not just getting education, but to find yourself. And we went through like meditation sessions, self-care sessions. Meanwhile, this retreat, originally I signed up for the 2020 retreat, which was obviously canceled because the world and the impending doom that was happening at the time. Something happened, something weird, the weird thing that we don't want to talk about anymore. So this was in, I think 2021. And so we're just like trying to go through like figuring out how to be like normal with each other. We have like little bracelets saying like, okay with hugs, don't touch me, you know, because like we don't know how to interact with each other. It's the first time that like any of us have been out of our hometown since the world had impending doom. And man, it was fucking cool. You meet these beautiful hearted people who genuinely care about just like taking care of yourself, making sure that your cup is full so that your cup can flow over into other people's lives. Because as hairdressers, really what we're doing is we're day makers. You know, we could make somebody who feels really terrible about themselves. You turn them around, all of a sudden there's tears. They get this certain look and they're just like, oh, wait, I could actually look like this. Man, what a beautiful thing. So 114 degrees, you're out there sweating your ass off. I don't think I'll ever have an experience like that because I had to face me. It wasn't a normal education event. I had to deal with my emotions, my lack at that time, that lack of air conditioning, that lack of the niceties that we have in our life.
Yeah, the creature comforts.
Yeah. And we really just had to dig in and figure out like, what are we lacking in our lives? What do we want more of in our lives? How can we bring that in? What traumas do we have to go through? A lot of what we did was overcoming trauma. Here I am in the middle of a desert crying with 120 other hairdressers who are also crying. It was just a big cry fest. It was great. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. I'm really grateful that I had that time.
The fact that it wasn't void of emotion means that it was successful in itself, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. It was very, very cool.
So I think when it's all said and done and I hang up my metaphorical hat, I'm moving west. Like I've been pretty animated about that now. So the TLDR on me is like, at some point, I'm just going to fuck off and move into the woods. And just people are going to wonder if I existed.
Yeah.
Or if I was just a figment of imagination, right? So that is my end goal.
My end goal is also moving out to the west, but not the woods, to the desert. So like I want to like be like the weird witchy person that they don't really know like what their deal is, who's just living up on a hill somewhere.
Yeah.
I come out just to like get some like iced coffee or something, and I go back into my beautiful little house.
That's cool.
Yeah. That's my retirement plan though, is like Southern Utah.
It's super nice. Yeah. I'm trying to convince Cass to go out there. So it's on the docket. We're going to end up out that way. So
can you work on Dan on that too?
Oh yeah. Well, so I want to put Dan on the spot for a second, but I know how much he loves hot weather. I know how much he loves doing the hiking. I know how much he likes being uncomfortable. I refer to him as an office plant, and he usually doesn't appreciate that, but because he's very temperature sensitive and, so.
Yeah. He is not a big fan of the heat, but like, I don't know, when we were hiking through the Narrows, he didn't complain about it. He was just overwhelmed with the beauty of everything.
No, he's good. I was I like
it. I feel like his thing would be maybe during the winter live in Southern Utah and then like going somewhere cold during the summer.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we're going to work on that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So I find that those events definitely help with any type of just natural personal growth and also what you do professionally, because your personal growth becomes an embodied area of culture, like we were talking about, right? What was your biggest takeaway? And you kind of already alluded to it, but just to capture from that event as an example, and then just what is usually like the prolific thing that you see when you do events?
I mean, that one, if I could sum that one up, it was learning how to connect to my breath, because I'm an anxious person. So that was my biggest takeaway, is connecting to my breath and somatic work that way. But I think my biggest takeaway when I go to these events is connection, shared energy, shared space, connection. Sharing energy with somebody is everything, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you already alluded to this too, but in the salon, a lot of the energy transfer has to go from you out, right? Because you're working people through their day, or they're coming in with whatever they have alongside. And obviously there's a lot of positive energy there too, but I know a lot of massage therapists, and they say that a lot of their work is actually like energy transfer, and they're just fatigued from that. So I'm sure it's the same.
Oh yeah. Definitely. I mean, you have to fill your cup too. So like having a hobby is super important. But when it comes to energy in the salon, when I was training my new assistant today about just like when you come into the salon, leave your shit at the door.
Yeah.
Like you need to come in with like a fresh perspective, really good energy, because like we don't know what's going to be coming through the door. But I was also sharing with her, we could pour a lot of love into our services, but we also have to make sure that we get rid of people's ick, right? Yeah. That's like what the kids are saying now, is like the ick. I feel so old when I say like the kids these days, but when you have somebody sitting in your chair who's going through some really, really hard times, especially if it's somebody that you've developed a relationship with over the past, like, some of my clients have been with me for 20 years. I have a really personal rapport with them. And if somebody in the family dies or they're going through a divorce, they'll start dumping on you. And like, they'll start by like, I'm so sorry, but I need to talk to you about this. So one of the things that I was talking to my new assistant about was rituals to get rid of some of that energy. I got crystals for days. I got a crystal here. I got a crystal in my bra, so I have that to help like with like taking my energy out, which I know I'm one of those weird ones. It's fine.
No, we went into like a sound bath drum circle together.
That's true.
Yeah.
That was a wild experience. And I got a little crystal from that I still have at my house, and I like to rub it when I'm stressed out.
Yeah.
But like one of the rituals that we could start introducing into our lives, and I think anybody could do this really, is if you're in a situation where you have a lot of like icky feelings coming at you and you just feel really heavy. Like I could feel if somebody's having a bad day the second they walk in the salon, I'm like, whew, that energy's heavy, like get ready. But after they leave, what I'll do is I'll go and I'll wash my hands, and I'll bring the lather like all the way up my arms. And then like, I just like close my eyes and envision as I'm rinsing it off that all of those feelings are going down the sink. So just like simple little rituals that you could put into your day to get rid of other people's energy, for many years I held on to that energy, and it's not good. It is not good. Like that stuff causes disease.
Yeah.
So finding little ways to get rid of it, great. I've been incorporating yoga into my daily practice. I've been joining the 6 a.m. club, Mike.
Oh, are you?
Oh, yeah. I've joined the 6 a.m. club.
I know you love that, you said.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I am so not a morning person, but we're working on it.
Yeah.
So I get up at 6 a.m. Most days, and I'm either going to the gym with Dan or I'm going to my Zoom yoga class with my weird little yoga cult.
Yeah.
I love them so much. It's great.
That's cool. What does that consist of?
So I started by going to one of their live classes in Beacon.
Is this the heavy metal yoga?
Yeah, try to get Cass to go.
Yeah, and then I gave her COVID.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Word of advice is never give your spouse COVID on their birthday.
Yeah.
I learned that.
Yeah.
It does not go well, but her hair looked really good for it.
I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad.
She, but it was promptly not, you don't do that. So just in case you were wondering if that ever seems like a good idea, because I know it does.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
Okay. All right. Noted. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, my weird little yoga cult.
Yeah.
So this group is called Dhyani Yogi. Not Dhyana Yogi. You
got it.
I can do this. Dhyani Yoga.
Perfect.
And they're like an alternative yoga group. They host Zoom classes. So I signed up for their Zoom subscription. And we just like listen to fun music and do yoga and pull tarot cards, and it's just like really cool.
That's cool.
We'll listen to new metal one day, so it'll be like Limp Bizkit and Korn, and then the next day it'll be like Bajas and I don't know, 9 Inch Nails. And it's a really good time. So
that's cool.
And their messaging always before class, they always give you a message to carry on with your day. It really just puts you in a positive mindset. Like I'll come down and Dan will be like, Jess, you're like glowing. You got a yoga glow. Or he'll ask me, how was your yogurt? I was like, my yogurt was good.
Yeah.
But he always says like my energy is totally different when I come down. So like finding rituals in your day to help just put good energy in you so that you could share that with the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like the perspective that I carried, which I think comes from, it's going to be somebody cliche for me. I think it's probably a Goggins thing. But the idea of mental aid stations, I don't know if you've come across that yet, but basically what we do in our daily lives and throughout the week is a marathon, right? So when you run a marathon, you get the water stations, right? Or the first aid stations that help you keep the pace for the rest of it. So if you can find mental aid stations throughout the day, you don't need to have the rubber band effect of on like a Saturday or a Sunday pulling all the way back and then letting completely loose over the weekend. So like almost asking yourself that question of what is my mental aid station, right?
Everybody needs that. Everybody needs a mental aid station. And former Jess was the one that would like rubber band and go party and like, whew, man, my 20s. I had a good time. I had a good time, but it definitely wasn't good for me.
Oh, no.
But now my mental aid stations, things like doing aerial, you know, God, I'm so passionate about that. I love it so much. It brings me so much joy.
Yeah.
It's hard work. It's overcoming fear. It's a wild ride doing aerial. So that, yoga, my puppies, you know, just chilling on the couch with my husband, all of that, like that keeps me sane throughout the week. So come weekend, I could actually just like relax and have a good time.
Yeah.
Or teach and prepare myself or work a whole lot. But, you know.
It's balance, right?
Yeah, balance.
If you're passionate about what you do, it's going to bleed into the weekend. It's just a matter of you making sure you keep the boundaries with family and friends, right? And you actually give them the space and time too.
Definitely.
So I'm actively working on that. I go back and forth. So
one of the things that I do, like I'm old school. I have my paper planner. You saw my book. It's like inch and a half thick. It's wild.
Yeah.
But like I'll put X's on days where I'm not allowed to schedule anything because I'm a doer. I'm not a homebody. I will just like, yeah, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, sure. Like that sounds great. Like that sounds like a really fun time. I'll do that. Oh yeah, you want me to teach this class? I got that, you know? So there are certain days where I'll just X out my day where like, that's how I'm creating my boundary with myself and my time, making sure that I'm able to spend it with my family, go have lunch with my mom or, you know, hang out with Dan, go see a movie with him. I'm hanging out with him all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been I've been his sidekick, I feel like, because I'm always just like snuggled up on his side all the time for
I think it's a
years.
Mutual sidekick that you guys balance each other.
Yeah.
In regards to the space, would you say that, because you said people like to hang out there and you have the culture and everything. So are you familiar with the idea of like the third space, that whole?
No.
So I don't know where it originates from. The first time I heard about it was actually in like the Starbucks book back when I was doing my MBA. But their whole premise was that they were trying to create this place called the third space, which is a area that gets you away from home. Like, it's not home life. It gets you away from work. It's not work life. Like gym is a gym is sometimes your third space too, but it's a place that you go that you feel a sense of sanctuary separate from those. So do you think that's a piece of what you've built too? It's almost,
Oh yeah, definitely. People want to come and hang out with us.
Yeah.
It's they look forward to it. Like, be like, oh man, can't wait to get my hair done. Like, go spend some time away from the kids. Like, we have like a no kid policy. Every now and again, somebody will bring their kid into the salon, and it's like, oh, you're ruining the peace.
Yeah.
But like we have to deal with it. But people enjoy coming to us, watching our antics, especially on Saturdays. We've coined Saturdays as Silly Goose Saturdays because we're just having a great time with each other. It's very rare that the four of us, like as a staff, are in the same room together. So we're just having a really fun time. People enjoy being in that energy. When they come in, they'll bring their significant other. Like every now and again, we get a dog in there, So it's really become a place that people, like a little community area. People come into our community. We welcome them with open arms. And they feel like they could actually just like take a breath of fresh air for a couple of hours while they're getting their hair done.
That's awesome. If you could have one hope over any other hope for somebody to leave the salon with in regards to their mood, affect, and just overall being, what would it be?
One word? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Like what's one thing you want somebody to leave with when they...
I want them to leave just feeling like a better person, better human. Really, that's what it comes down to. It's not just about the hair. It's about the conversations that happen in our chair. I had a conversation with one of my stylists recently about the way I kind of like manipulate some conversations to try and push people to what their potential could actually be. I had this one client. He's been in like the restaurant business for a long time, and he's like, Jess, I figured out what I want to do. I was like, oh yeah, what's that? And he starts talking about like what he wants his career to be. I was like, oh, so like what are the first steps to get there? And he's like, oh, I guess like sign up for college. I'm like, so when you going? So I'm like constantly pushing people to see their potential. A few weeks later, he comes back. He's like, Jess, I couldn't wait to see you. I couldn't wait to tell you. I was at ACH the other day and I signed up for classes. I was like,
that's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to it, I want people to leave feeling like they could just be a better human.
That's super cool. And then I know that's something that the rest of the team also brings out there. And even when it was like the small alloy space, it always had that sense to it. Another thing I recommend is anybody listening to the episode to actually go to the Instagram and check out the salon, just because the aesthetic also is very unique versus what you see with like a normal salon, or however you want me to say that. But like it has like the aesthetic also embodies a lot of what you're talking about. So you feel it in the visuals and in the culture, right?
Yeah, definitely. So the aesthetic of the salon itself. So one of the things that did happen during like the weird times, I didn't have to go and be behind the chair for 3 months, so I signed my lease for this space March 3rd, and then March 18th, the state came in and said that we couldn't work anymore.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I remember laying in bed. I decided to close my salon a day before the state told us we had to. And it's like 1:00 in the morning. I'm having a full-blown panic attack in bed. Just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Because like, we're all like, it's going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be 2 weeks. Yeah. We all knew it wasn't going to be 2 weeks. But as my husband was like, what, you just came this far to like, just come this far? Like, get it, So I spent 3 months painting and plotting and scheming and designing. My brother's an electrician and just like all around, just like a handy guy to have around. Like you could tell him to build you a house and he'll build you a house. So we spent every weekend that he had available designing and making the place look really cool. So I describe our aesthetic of the space itself gothic chic with an industrial twist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's like very luxury,
Mm-hmm.
but also like a little gritty. There's like bats hanging on the wall. It's quite the sight.
It's a super awesome space.
Yeah.
Even the mirrors, the space, the shape of the mirrors, right?
The mirrors look like coffins. I mean, normies, it's just a geometric mirror because they're not quite coffin shaped, but
we know the secret now.
Yeah, they're coffin shaped for sure.
Yeah.
That was the first thing I bought even before I had the space. I was like, I'm going to buy 6 mirrors. I'm going to have 6 stations. We're going to do this.
That's cool.
And I just threw it into existence. I am a manifester. Like that is what I do is I'll just like talk about something and talk about something and talk about something and it's just going to happen.
Is 6 your vision for the space or?
I'm like, the 2 little chairs that I have over by the windows.
Yep.
I'm thinking eventually I might have like somebody put outlets coming out from under the floor and then getting like 2 more mirrors, like freestanding and have mirrors there as like, second styling stations. But right now I'm happy with 6. I don't want us to be like a huge salon. I like the boutique feeling. I like where it's like we all interact, but we all have our personal space. Coming from a 200 square foot space.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, we'd be turning and our butts are touching each other. We're like elbowing each other in the shoulders as we're working. So I like having that spacious feel. My dream, though, I want to buy a church.
Oh, interesting.
I want to buy a big church and turn it into a salon / aerial space / home if I could buy a big enough church.
That's cool.
Yeah. Dan knows about this. I don't know if he's down, but
he will be.
One day.
Yeah.
One day we're going to own a church.
That's cool. Where would you want it? Would it be New York still?
Yeah. I mean, like our roots are here.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm ready to retire, I'll move elsewhere when my bones need heat.
Yeah.
But until then, I think we're going to be in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
Like that area. So
that'd be awesome. Yeah. I actually the one tattoo artist I've been going to now, her name's Jill. She's out of Warwick-ish area. Same, like really cool aesthetic when you go in there. It feels like, very gothic, very, very dark. A lot of frankincense and sandalwood and stuff like burning everywhere. It. So just the feeling when you go in somewhere before you even interact is so huge, right? Yeah. Especially if it's the third space like we're talking about. Yeah, that's super, super awesome. I feel like you definitely talked about this already, but you intertwine a lot of your personal life and your professional life together because that's where the value comes from. So into the hobbies that we're talking about, so like aerial or yoga, or just even how you do like family time or like going out into the wilderness and doing that stuff. Do you see a continuum flow between your passions and what manifests into the space for the salon?
I think so. I mean, like everything's giving us a lesson, right? Everything we do in our life is providing us with more information that we could carry on elsewhere throughout our lives. Like aerial, I'm always going to go back to aerial because it's such a wonderful exercise of courage and self-improvement and no comparison and like you do what you can do, but like let's see if you could do it better than last time, different things like that. I bring the wisdom that I get from that into education as an educator. I bring that into the salon. I think I bring it especially into the salon when I'm talking to guests who are afraid of living. Yep. I feel like especially now people are afraid of going out and living. What is life if we're not going to live it?
Why
we're
do you
just
think that is?
So afraid to die.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously like people are dying left and right. So you have that whole aspect. And I think people were just so shut in that they forgot how to experience different things. So I try to like convince people to do something that's out of their comfort zone. Like I'm out here flying 30 feet in the air. I'm in full control over my life. If I could do that, shit, I could do anything. So I try to bring that energy into like my clients when I'm talking to them about like them being scared about going on a plane to go visit family down in Florida. It's like, so you're just going to die without seeing like your family? Like go live, go experience your life, go on that vacation. Like if you're afraid to book it, have somebody else book it for you and just show up, So I think different things like that really translate into my life as a stylist behind the chair because I could bring wisdom and give it to other people.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it goes by quick, right? Like in the retrospective analyses that exist out there, like there's that one book where they interviewed everybody. This is going to get real morbid. They had the book where they did interviews with a bunch of people who were on their deathbed. And the number one thing that resonated throughout that entire book was the aspect of regret. And most of the regret was around always either pushing something off, saying you were going to do it, or not doing the thing that you wish you did. And I can go back to when you were 18 to 34 to 45, but it's like there's something there, right?
Definitely.
And at the end of the day, we're all going to evaporate into carbon. So like,
yeah, we're all going to die.
Right? Yeah.
I don't know if it's a healthy way to look at death or like it's a unhealthy way to look at death. Like, I don't know, you tell me, but like, we're all going to die. Mm-hmm. Like, why are we going to be so afraid of it? Like, it's going to happen either if I'm like really sick or really injured and I'm in a lot of pain on my deathbed, or if I just like get hit by a bus tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We're all going to die and we don't know when it's going to happen to us. So like, why are we going to let death stop us from doing the things in our life that we want to do that are just going to make us better people and create more connection and community and, you know, experiences that you could talk to your children about or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we got to live.
Yeah. Everybody on the planet is living the most exciting story that's ever existed. And that should be your story. Right. And if you aren't living that exciting story, change it. Right. Mm-hmm. Like every single person should be the protagonist in some epic long form story that exists out there.
Definitely. And you're never too old to go and create your story.
Yeah.
You're never too old.
I forget what the study was, but the average individual reestablishes their identity and rebuilds their identity. Like, I forget how many multiples of times, but it's a lot throughout a lifetime. Especially successful individuals. That's what they do. Like their identity will actually evolve, just like whatever else you want to talk about, like your astrology sign, if you want to go that route, or just like your body composition, like any of that stuff, you'll change over and over again throughout the lifespan. So,
I mean, I wouldn't want to look back and be like, oh yeah, I'm the same person that I was 10 years ago.
Oh yeah.
That makes me sad.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know, we have to grow. We have to evolve. We have to shift. Mm-hmm. That's everything, right? That's what life is about, right? If you're a family person, you shift when you have kids, you shift when they graduate, you shift when you become a grandparent, right? That's all shift. You're a business owner. You start by like, you know, renting a 200 square foot space, and then you shift into a 1,200 square foot space. And then you're looking at education and growing and growing and growing. Like, we all have to shift. Dan, right?
Yep.
He's building a friggin' video game because like, he decided, oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And like, here we are, you know, it's
and the passion's in it.
Yeah.
His being is in it. And when you pour that into building the thing, like the culture as well, that's going to be built by the passion, and that's where the value is built.
Yeah. And like, I could tell you, like, even my business is, you know, shifted and grown. We're not the same business that we were 4 years ago or 7 years ago when I started my journey, you know.
If you were to do an analysis on that, what's the difference between the culture and goals and aspirations you had at day zero, let's say day one, and now?
So I think when I just started the salon, I just wanted to be a salon. When I got this space, I wanted to be a salon and a place where people could come and educate themselves and grow as like stylists, create a community for other hairstylists to come to. I have yet to do that. I have hosted a couple of classes.
Yep.
We had like a superstar within the industry in our salon, and we had people like fly up from Florida and, you know, come from Maine, New Hampshire, just people from all over come into my space and learn from the superstar of an educator. So that's cool. But like, I would like to start hosting more community events. So 7 years ago, when I started my business, that was not something that I was interested in doing. I just wanted a little place to call my own. And here we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vision continues to grow.
Vision continues.
On the aerial front, how did you get into that? Because I know there's also like the aspect of trapeze and like all that stuff that you were interested in too. So like how did that start?
So, well, I saw, what was it? Cirque du Soleil Love in Las Vegas many years ago. I was there for a Paul Mitchell education event and a bunch of educators. I was like the new kid on the block at that point. I didn't really know anybody. A bunch of educators were like, hey, we're going to go see a Cirque du Soleil. Do you want to come? I was like, cool. I didn't know what I was walking into. And I thought it was just so beautiful. These people hanging from ribbons and like the theatrics and jellyfish coming down from the ceiling. It was a really magical experience. I cried. Of course, I cry over everything. It's fine. So that was kind of like my first exposure to circus. I was like, it'd be really cool to try that one day. So I kind of put that on like a bucket list thing, but like just put it away, tucked it off to the side. Dan, well, we have a friend who was starting to teach aerial yoga like a couple years later. And she asked Dan if he would come and talk to the owner of the space to build a website. So he went and he got there at the end of a class. He comes back from this meeting. He's like, Jess, you would love this. You need to go. I was like, I'm so scared. Like, this seems like a really scary thing to do. He's like, no, you should go. So one day I texted my friend Jana. I was like, hey, Jana, like, what days do you teach? And she's like, Monday mornings. I was like, okay. So I just like woke up, rolled out of bed and showed up. And I was just like hooked.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I could be an adult and I could hang upside down. What? This is the coolest thing ever. So that's where the addiction started. So Dan is not allowed to complain when I show him videos or pictures of anything that I'm doing because he created this monster.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I did aerial yoga for like probably a good like year and a half. And at that point, I was a pack-a-day smoker. And I said, when I quit smoking, I want the money that I was using for my cigarettes to take split silk lessons. And so I quit smoking. That's exactly what I did. And yeah, the monster was created. So I dabble with silks, or not dabble. That's my main discipline, right? We call them different disciplines within the aerial world. Split silks is my jam. I love it. It's not just a workout for your body, but it's a workout for your mind because you always have to think of like, how am I going to tie this to support me, keep me safe? You're doing drops and stuff like that. So you have to like... Yeah,
you're actually like flip dropping.
Yeah. So you have to like talk yourself into doing these things. Like first time I do a drop, I have somebody to like 3, 2, 1, go, to get me out of my own head. But like, that's some scary shit. You're, 15 feet up and you're just going to like, okay, I'm just going to go face first and hope for the best. It all works out as long as you're wrapped properly.
I'd fall.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
No, you wouldn't. If you had somebody like who's telling you how to do the thing, you wouldn't fall. You'd
I don't listen the best.
So. Oh, yeah. Just like, you were saying that earlier.
Yeah. So I'd probably dive bomb, but it's okay. I would accept my fate in that moment.
Yeah.
Huh. I tried once a little bit and I don't, for the groin area, it was very painful.
So it really hurts.
Yeah.
I was telling you before, like, so trapeze is my new thing, dance trapeze.
Yeah.
So it's a trapeze bar that's hanging from a single point. Sorry, I keep on hitting the thing. I'm too animated.
I like animated because I'm not, so.
So like I have like rope burn on the inside of my arm. The top of my right foot is tore up right now. Bruises mysteriously appear on my body all the time. You're in the shower and you're just like, oh God, that hurts. And you're like, oh cool, I have silk burn on my back,
What a very sophisticated way to say that you're a superhero fighting crime in the middle of the night. And those are just battle wounds.
They are battle wounds. They're totally like, as aerialists, you're like, yo, did you see my bruise? They're battle wounds. And like, there's something to be proud of because you're just like pushing past your capacity. Your body gets used to it eventually. And then you learn how to not give yourself burns or you get like calluses on your neck or something like that.
Yeah.
Summer 2024, calluses on your neck. It's going to be hot.
Is there a goal that you're working towards when it comes to that passion? Like, is there a thing you really want to do or an event you really want to go to that?
No, I mean, not really. I'm just always looking to be better. So I did create a goal for myself this year and it's to like dance with more intention. So be in the air with more intention and more from the heart rather than just going through the motions of doing a trick. So that's something that I'm working on this year because that I've always been like a little bit more rigid in the air with that. So signing up for different workshops to express that. I think I told you last time you were in, I signed up for an aerial burlesque workshop,
I
and
heard,
it's this weekend.
You're
and
doing it?
I'm doing it. I'm
Good.
doing it.
You were trepidatious about it. And I'm glad that everybody was resonating that you need to just do it.
It's so scary. Like, you know, I'm not really the most comfortable with my body, and I wouldn't say like sexy is a word that I would use to describe myself. So going to this thing where you're forced to be like sexy and create this persona for yourself, it's so out of my comfort zone. But like, if you don't go out of your comfort zone, are you ever going to grow?
That's where growth happens. Yeah. And I think you're going to rock it. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. What's your biggest hope coming out of it?
How to just like, so many things. I think to just be more connected to myself and my body, honestly, you know, which is like what I'm looking for always in the air, but it's a different, like, it's more of like a spiritual connection with yourself. So I think that's what I'm mostly looking to come out of it, but also choreography.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm playing choreography in my head all the time, but I never act on it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's going to go super awesome. You learn very quickly to get comfortable with your body at military training, since we brought that up in the beginning. Yeah. So there's nothing like being stuck having to shower with like 46 other dudes. So I've gotten comfortable too, but it's just different extremes, I guess. So.
I'm so not a naked person. Like I get my email from them being like, we're going to be providing you pasties and a robe. And I'm just like, pasties? What did I do? I don't even know. I don't think the pasties are going to be used, but you know, it's only if you're comfortable, but. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good times.
I haven't worn pasties in a long time.
Right now.
Yeah. I think it's going to be awesome. On the alternative front for hairstyle, and also just, I think, a lot of the things that you're interested in throughout life in general, what attracts you to that, right? Like you kind of said the perspective of like, you have a conservative salon and you had like your rebels and your misfits and your outlaws, right? And also like the style of hair that you do, the approach you take, colors, all that stuff. Like what drew you there? Why?
How did I wind up in the industry, or how did I wind up like where
on the alternative front? So like doing the colors, doing the.
I was always a DIY kid. I was a punk rocker, you know. Before I went to beauty school, like the reason why my mom told me to go to beauty school was because I was doing weird color experiments to my hair and lightening, and you know, I had a mohawk that was like 11 inches high.
Oh, that's cool.
Half of it was pink, half of it was blue. And then I was like working with block color. Nobody told me how to do this. But so my mom's like, go to beauty school. I think you'd like it. And you could work your way through college. That was a whole hope and dream, was I was supposed to be like the first kid to go to college. And, you know, that didn't happen. But like I'm doing so much more with my life now. So I'm okay with that. What drew me into opening an alternative salon? Because there needs to be places for alternative people, people who are, you know, experimenting with different non-gendered, I don't even know. Like we're very inclusive. We cater to the LGBTQ community. We have people with different gender expressions coming in, trans, non-binary, people who are going in that, you know, they, them realm.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a place where they could come and be themselves.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And anybody on the planet can have badass hair too.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. We have women who are in their like 60s and 70s who have like purple or like hot pink hair.
Yeah.
Awesome. I freaking love that. You know, I just wanted to create a place where people could come and just like express their genuine self. Really. Yeah. That's how we became an alternative salon.
It's super cool too, because the demographic that you serve seems like is a really wide swath of individuals. So you probably see a full realm of people.
Yeah. When I was designing the salon, actually, a lot of the things that I was asking myself is like, yeah, I want to cater to the alternative crew, but I want anybody to come in and just be like, this is a really cool salon. Like when it comes to figuring out what like my dream client is, you know, I've done a million dream client workshops. We're targeting people who are age 20 to 40, but we're not exclusive to 20 and 40 or 20 to 40. So we're inviting people who are in their teens to come in. We're inviting people who are in their 60s and 70s who are just like, they're cool. Maybe they went to like Woodstock, you know, the original Woodstock doing that. A big part of our culture is music. I'm like, music is everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Music is everything. So we attract a lot of people who just like, they'll watch our Instagram videos and see like cool music in our videos.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I knew this was the right place.
Yeah. We're akin there. Music, right? That's a big thing that we connect on.
Yep.
And Halloween's the other big thing.
Halloween. So. And we have like, again, like it's always Halloween in our salon. Yeah. People are like, oh, you forgot to take down your Halloween decorations. Like, no, I bought those for the salon, So, our demographic is massive. It's all over the place. And then we do have our conservative guests who they get their kicks out of us.
Yeah.
They're just like, have fun there. We're living vicariously through Jess and Christine and Lisa, Jackie. Like, they're just like cool people and they tell cool stories. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's awesome. You want a hard question that you'll say, I wish I answered differently?
Oh, no.
If you were to pick one song that embodies the personality of Alloy, what song would it be?
Ooh. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish I had my phone on me so I could just like go through Spotify real quick and see what I could.
What's the first one coming to mind?
Honestly, my brain just went blink. Song,
on music. Music doesn't exist.
What's a song? I don't know what a song is. So, yeah, I don't know. My gosh.
I'm going to plant that seed and it's going to come to you while we're...
Yeah, we'll come back to it. We'll come back to it.
So, in regards to music, though, what you used to play in a band, right? That was also like a past life. I'm similar, right? I played in a death metal band. We had that conversation off microphone before. But do you think that's a big influence of where you are today, too? Or is that kind of just a side quest?
So, being in a band, I did fall in love with being on stage, which is how I started thinking about becoming an educator. Because the idea of being on stage and being a rock star in my own way excites me. I can't help it. I'm a Leo. I'm
That's
just
awesome.
like, look at me. Like, this is great. It's a good time.
It's interesting, too, because there are moments. Do you have any challenges with like social anxiety ever, too, on the flip side of that?
Sometimes in certain groups of people, I get social anxiety. And I think it just comes from a place of imposter syndrome of like, oh my God, I'm hanging out with these people. I don't think I should be hanging out with these people. I don't like deserve hanging out with these people because like I hold them on such a high regard. And then you get invited to these events and you're just like, oh man, I'm one of these people. Like, how did this happen? It's like when you're looking for a grown-up and then you realize you are the grown-up. It's the same kind of,
You're yelling for the grown-up and then you have to look in the mirror and then it makes you upset.
Yeah. So, I do get social anxiety in those kind of situations. But for the most part, I am definitely extroverted. I will talk to literally anybody, anytime, anywhere about anything. So.
Cool. I have another fun question that came in mind. So, you know how Batman has the bat signal that you put up into the sky, right? This is my ADD going wild.
Yeah.
What would be the beacon for Alloy then?
And we have bats everywhere, so it would be bats. Yeah,
it would probably be like bats turning into a shear or like...
Maybe we need to get somebody to work on that for me. Like, Dan, if you're listening. Make it happen.
That's awesome.
I got a question.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask it because I'll cut it. But why Alloy? Why is it named Alloy?
Alloy? Oh, that's a good one. And we keep it raw, so they're going to know that you asked this question. Just to recap the question, though, it's why is it called Alloy?
Okay. So when I was first on the venture of creating my salon, I have a thing against cliche names. Like, not my jam, sheer heaven or,
style.
Not my jam. Also, a lot of people name salons after themselves. Also, not my jam. So I'm like trying to think outside of the box. And one of the exercises that like somebody I listened to back in the day on podcasts, brain dumps, right? You just like get pieces of paper and you set a timer for like X amount of minutes. And you just write every single little thought that pops into your head. So I'm brain dumping a bunch of words and like things like metal, strength, resilience, like all these different words started coming up. And I was just like, metal, what can I do with that? And, looking at, different salon names in the area, I was like, well, I can't do that. Can't do that. I was like, alloy. So I look up the properties of alloy. It's a bonded material, right? So if you look at my salon, I have 3 words above my front door. I have bonded. I have strong. And oh my gosh, what is the other word?
You're on the spot.
Yeah,
That's why.
oh my gosh. I'm so definitely on the spot. Reflective.
Yeah.
Right. So those are my 3 words. So alloy is a bonded metal that usually has a lot of reflection to it, and it's super strong, which is what I wanted to see in my team. So I wanted a strong group of people who were very reflective, very mindful, very intelligent hairdressers. I feel like as an industry, we get like, I don't think so much anymore, but when I started in the industry, like in Forbes magazine of like, list of careers, we were next to plumbers.
Oh, really?
As an industry. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting.
So like, how can we elevate this industry to become more reflective, more knowledgeable, more intelligent? So reflective was one of the words that really stood out to me. And then strong, we're some tough ladies in there,
I wouldn't fight any of you.
Yeah. But those words could also, no. I mean, you could probably take me down with all of your training and stuff like that, but
I'm only in the Air Force.
Yeah. So. Yeah. True.
That's my only, enough now. I can't say anything else.
So those 3 words can also be part of hair, right? Strong hair. We always want strong, healthy hair when guests are leaving from color services. Reflective hair. So a lot of shine. Shiny hair is healthy hair, happy hair, and usually a happy client too. And bonded, we're doing a lot of treatments and we're bonding with our clients while they're in our chairs. So I thought overall that was a really great way to name my salon. So that's how we arrived at Alloy Hair Studio.
Did that answer it?
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Were you expecting that deep of an answer?
No, I knew it had to be a story, though.
Yeah. I'm a thinker when it comes to these things. Like, if I'm going to do something, do it with intention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you written down your manifesto anywhere?
I have different variations of it throughout the years. Like, whenever I'm taking business workshops, I feel like that's a thing that is constantly coming up. So, I have different versions of it throughout the years.
One of the things that I love that you touched on was the perspective of this would be the thing that helps you pay through college, and you were going to go to college, and it kind of shifted from there. I don't know if you've seen the study recently, but college is on track to cost up to $100,000 a year now. And I've gone through it, right? Like, there is some good in there. I have a really good relationship with the dean. This has come up in other episodes, so I'd like to ruffle feathers, and she'll probably get mad at me, but I think that a majority of college is also bullshit. I think that there's so much more practicality in vocation, in experiential learning, and with being out there, learning what you need and being in the fire, right? To either mold yourself or not. And I hope that people become industrious again and don't just hope to go to college and like that's going to be the end all, right?
Well, the new generation just wants to be YouTube actors. So there's that, you know.
I can't dance.
Influencers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I'm really hoping that the trades come back into the world, because without trades, we don't have infrastructure. We don't have personal care. Trades can't be taken over fully by like AI, right? Yep. We need trades. And so many people that I went to school with who went to college, they're not really doing much with their lives. You know, they didn't get to use their degree because it's such an oversaturated market.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to start encouraging children to start getting into a trade, you know? Yeah. So I was supposed to be the first person to go to college in my family. My brother's an electrician. He makes great money in his trade doing what he did. He went to BOCES while he was in high school. I went to BOCES while we were in high school. So we both started out our careers without debt, which is like, dude, when does that happen? That's really cool.
Yeah.
But like you could actually do something with your life and have a meaningful life with a trade. I have this client, she's a plumber, and she just got into this like a few years ago. She's about my age, and dude, she's killing it out there. Like she has a trade, she has a skill. She's working on becoming an engineer. Like what? Like how cool is that? So I hope that like there isn't a death to the trade. We need trades. We need people to get in there, get their hands on it. And if we could start helping children like recognize that they are better off, like there are people who are studious, right? And then you have people who they'd rather be in it using their hands.
Mm-hmm.
If we could start encouraging people who actually want to be using their hands to go and follow that dream rather than go and spending, $100,000+ on school.
Yeah.
I think we would actually have a better workforce. We would have a better work ethic. And I think we'd have a happier world.
Yeah. I also saw a really good post today that said something akin to, when I was 17, I wanted to go get a Limp Bizkit tattoo. Went to the tattoo shop, and because I didn't have any parental sign off, they shooed me away. 6 months later, I was offered $100,000 to go to college, and I accepted it.
Yeah.
It's crazy, right?
It's crazy. Did you watch the Explained shows?
Yeah.
They had a whole episode on student debt.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, if you're a parent and you're listening to this, make your kid watch that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
It's crazy. They do not set you up to win for that.
No. And the credit system, I have a lot of strong opinions about, and some other stuff too, because it's a weird carnival of fake math. But it's, even for me, I have my master's, I have a bachelor's, I have an associate. So I did the whole thing. And then I got into technology because I just wanted to start learning it. And then I joined the military. So I guess I've gone the full gamut, but I think college should be something, unless you're going and from the time you're born, right? Like when you're in middle school, you're like, oh, I'm going to be a doctor. There's specific specialties that you absolutely should go to school for. But if you're trying to figure out, especially business, right? Go practice some business first. Go be an entrepreneur first. And then you can subsidize your educational needs with a structured program, right?
Yeah.
I think I've learned significantly more in the practice of business than going to business school, but that's not a knock on school. I learned how to learn in school. So if schools could focus on teaching people how to voraciously learn, they'll be set up for success.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
First thing I ask, the new assistant who came on board, I was like, what's your learning style?
Yeah.
How do you learn best? Because if I know how you learn best, I can teach you better.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do this. So yeah, people need to learn how to learn.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How is it being the person now that has an assistant when you reflect on what we talked about in the beginning where you were the assistant?
I don't even know yet because she starts on Saturdays.
Yeah, but just the perspective of it, that thing's happening right now.
So again, I just believe in investing in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to set her up to be a successful stylist behind the chair so that she could do her own thing, so she can make good money, a good living. It's just about pouring into other people's lives, influencing them to just do better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think I'm stuck on the school thing now. Where do you think that aggressive perpetuation of parents forcing school on kids comes from when they're miserable? So I'm not going to say this as aggressively as I mean it, but where probably 80% of the population is miserable with the jobs they have.
Honestly, I know for my parents, they were pushing me to go to college so I didn't have to struggle like they did.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like so much has changed. Back when they were growing up, college was this, it was a big deal to go to college and make something of yourself with that. But now that everybody's doing it, that market is getting less and less.
Mm-hmm.
It's not college is so accessible and getting a degree is so accessible that there aren't enough jobs to support that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think parents pushing their kids into college is with really great intention, but I don't think there's really much to support it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the perspective of money and making what you would consider successful living is skewed when people think about it. Because, for example, you want to be an entrepreneur, people think millions, hundreds of millions of dollars a year and all of this stuff. But there's a very healthy and you're living a good life version of lifestyle entrepreneurship that exists that only takes your hard work and grit to make happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially now, because there's not a lot of hard work and grit out there right now. I'm going to be a little aggressive on this too.
Yep.
So if
I
you
feel
have even the tiniest bit of drive and hard work and grit and just put the time in, you'll probably be able to live off of that.
Yeah. Would I be able to be where I'm at right now within my career if I didn't have that hard work and grit? Probably not.
Mm.
I worked my ass off. If I had an opportunity for, assisting for free on something that I thought was like going to better my career, I hopped on that opportunity. I went and spent 10 hours, handing bobby pins or, sectioning hair for somebody, or just like being there as just like an extra hands on set. So I could take those skills and bring it with me in my career. I don't know, like hard work and grit. Like I know they're like grind culture is dead. Periods of grind are going to give you periods where you can relax a little bit. We have to grind, right? Like if you are hyper focused on something, you're going to become fucking great at it. I don't know. I don't agree with this anti-grind culture.
Yeah, there's a lot of interest. Actually, when I did the episode with Dolo, there's a lot of anti-work, anti-grind culture stuff going on right now. That's a little precarious. What was the moment in your own arc of professional skills that you felt like, I got this? I know my shit.
I still don't know my shit. I'm
No.
still winging it. No.
I think that's a lie.
I think it's a lie too. It's definitely a lie. Sometimes I say like I'm winging it, like on the financial aspect, Mike.
Yeah.
I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm winging it right now.
I know.
I invested in education that is geared towards salon owners of how to not wing it anymore, and I'm working through it. What was the original question again?
What was the moment that you knew? So like in your skill set and in your trade that you were like, I got this.
I think actually, like, so as an educator, I think recently, my last trip out to Las Vegas, we were there and we were all assigned different groups that we had to be a part of, right? So you had like the orange group, you had the yellow group, you had the blue group, and then you had the green group. And I'm looking around, I'm like, I don't see any greens, man. Like, shit, like, what's going on? And then I found all the green people and I was like, wait, I'm with the green people. They were all like the top educators. And that was like the moment where I was like, okay, like I have arrived within this education thing. Like I'm actually good at what I do. People love when I'm coming into their salons and teaching. There's a reason I'm here. As a salon owner, I think this year has actually been a really big year for me of, okay, like I kind of know what I'm doing. We're at the 4-year mark this year, which most businesses, what do they say? Like 70% of businesses fail within like 3 years.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. On that really quick too, I said 80% of people are miserable in their jobs. There's no empirical evidence on that. I need to say that because I'm such an empirical person. That was bullshit statistic, not real.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like this year has been the year where it's like, okay, like we're doing this. Like it's working. Like we're doing the thing and it's great. And now it's like, okay, how can I do better?
Yeah.
And that's something I struggle with, is just finding joy and stillness in the moment rather than being like, okay, what's next?
Yeah.
Let's go. Yeah.
You don't have to answer this, but do you have a number in your mind where you feel like that could be your moment to be comfortable for the rest of your life? Is there like a personal goal you're working towards?
I don't think so, honestly.
It's just about what you're building and the passion around that.
Yeah, I think it's about what I'm building, and I just want to like live comfortably. I'm not looking to, live like a Cribs lifestyle or anything like that. No. I just want to be comfortable. I want to be able to like take off a Saturday every now and again. When I'm actually able to not work Saturdays anymore, we know we've got it made.
Yeah, I know that's a goal in general. Yeah. Cool. We're getting at like the 114 mark, so I'm going to have a couple more questions to round us out here because I'm going to try to get to 120 because somebody that's not on this camera right now might yell at me otherwise. So I'm trying to think through a couple of the questions I had. Is there anything that's top of mind for you or question-wise while I ruminate on that?
I don't think so.
You're the host now.
No. Oh, gosh. Well, Mike, please tell me. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm trying to think in regards to building the team, finding the right people, that aspect of what you've done from the culture perspective. How did you find the people that you want on your team?
So most of my staff right now have worked with me for a very long time. We come from a previous salon together. But like, I just knew their attitude, their drive, their energy. Like, I knew that they'd be a good fit. Moving forward, I ask questions like, what do you value in education? What are your goals in your career? Because like, I want to help them get there. I do ask them, what kind of music do you listen to? Because like that stuff, it fits into our culture, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure they're a good fit. And then just inviting them into our space and seeing how their energy is. If their skills aren't there, it's not a big deal. We could work on that, but I want to see what their ego is like, what their salon vision is like how they interact with others. That kind of stuff is important for me. This new assistant, she found us. And I kind of like that. If you're seeking us out, like, we'll talk about it. We'll see how it works. I've had people shadow where it just didn't seem like it was a good fit, and it wasn't like anything bad. It just, the vibe wasn't there. So does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
If to summate it, what is a key aspect of an individual's personality that's like deciding factor for fit? Like if there's one aspect of personality that you're analyzing over everything else.
I want them to be open-minded. That's it. Open to feedback, open to a different view and perspective. That's really, like, we're an inclusive salon. You have to be open-minded about people of all walks of life, opinions of all types, as long as you're not an asshole. Of course.
Yeah, the no asshole policy.
Yep.
Also, I think social media perpetuates the idea that it's hard to find those type of people, but I'm sure it's not as hard as it.
Yeah.
It's a little bit A, a little bit B.
And then in the salon world, there's this thought that you can't find a salon that's a good fit. Salons are kind of dying right now because everybody's going to the suite world. There are salons out there that want to see you succeed and want to help you through that. But I don't think it's talked about often enough.
There's another, like one of the key things I want to discuss as we round out here, which is applicable actually just to entrepreneurship as a whole, but it's something that you have a fresh perspective on because it's fairly recent, but the conversation around when it's time to pull the trigger to raise rates and the idea of that, because the theme that I've seen out there is it's much easier to lower a rate than it is to raise it. Raising it's always kind of like a challenge. It could be your own challenge or with clients, like what I do on boutique services side, right? Like anytime I raise the rate, I know that there's going to be some turbulence there. From your perspective, that process, that thought.
All right. So Mike, you'd be very proud of me. I researched numbers and I came across some statistics saying that inflation was 21.5% since 2020. Ouch.
Yeah.
I haven't raised my prices since 2020. Double ouch.
Yeah.
Everything's going up. So that was kind of like my definitive, like, I need to actually do this. Discounting your rates cheapens the experience, cheapens the clientele that's coming in. They're not going to value as much because they're just looking for a bargain.
Yep.
So when you're raising your rates, like, it's all about communication. This was my big scary this year, was raising my rates, but like communicating it with the guests and spinning it in a way of like, we want to create more value for you. So I've been doing some little home improvement projects in the salon that we're going to be creating a better experience for our guests at a very low cost, know? So, if you're going to raise your rates, like, clients kind of want to know what's in it for them.
Yeah.
And it could be something as simple as a hot towel around your neck when you get shampooed, or a cold mist on your face on a hot day, different things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, raising your rates is scary. But that is the emotional aspect of you thinking that it's scary. I had a huge conversation with this about this with a stylist that I taught a class to yesterday. I was like, don't look into anybody's pocketbook, because you don't know. They might be showing up in these like beat up clothes from the thrift shop, right? Wearing these like beat up old sneakers, whatever. But they could have like a Ferrari at home. Yeah. We don't know. Don't look into people's pocketbooks, You're worried about their retirement. You have to worry about your retirement, which I currently don't have any retirement, but like raising my rates, that's going to help me get closer to that goal. So yeah.
Yeah.
Big scary, but you got to emotionally detach yourself from it.
Well, and you have all the other check boxes in place. So the value, the third space, like everything that you provide justifies it. And I think that raising rates actually just becomes a trust exercise.
Yeah.
With your clients, right?
And it's crazy. I've like out of all of our clients that we've raised rates on, because like, you know, we did it across the board. I've had maybe one person say something negative about it. All right. But they're still coming.
Yeah.
They're still tipping me. Like, okay, fine. Like, but like nobody even bats an eyelash. And like, here I am like losing sleep over it, stress sweats, all of that.
Yeah.
Nobody even cares, you know?
I mean, go to the grocery store now and the prices of what you pay for groceries versus, you know, 3-4 years ago is crazy.
Unfortunately, it's what businesses need to do to survive right now.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have the umbrella of a corporation keeping us safe.
Mm-hmm.
We got to keep ourselves safe.
Yes. Corporations definitely keep people safe.
Do they?
No, that was a joke.
Yeah.
So we're at time here. I love the conversation. There's about a million other questions I have. I'm sure in the future we'll continue it, and I'm going to be interested based on some of the personal experiences you have coming up. Now that we have this as a moment in time captured, being able to reflect back on it and see what we think. Yep. And also on the business perspective, I think the trajectory that you're continuing on is going to yield a lot of insight for people who want to listen, as well as just really good conversational fodder to help individuals learn, right? To round out the conversation, I always like to end with a question. I don't know if Dan...
He told me there's a question, but I haven't made it to the end of a podcast yet.
Okay,
so.
Yeah. So it's nothing scary. It's what song would it be? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, no!
If you were to have somebody walk away with only one key idea or theme from this conversation, out of everything that we talked about, what would you want them to walk away with?
Grow. Simple as that. Grow. Don't be afraid of trying new experiences, learning a new thing, doing all the things, saying yes to the things, because it's only going to cause you to grow. And there's no harm in that.
Cool. I have nothing else to add to that. Thank you, Jess. What's the best way to follow you?
So my Instagram handle is hairjess87. It's hairjess with 2 S's. And my salon's Instagram is Alloy Hair Studio, ALLOY, if you're wondering how to spell it. So yeah, those are the best places to find us.
And you can see all of the cool stuff we talked about with how it's laid out and everything.
Oh, and check out my cool new website, alloyhairstudio.com.
Yeah, it's super
Very proud of it. It's really cool.
We know some cool people that helped contribute to that too.
Yeah, just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Mike.
Everybody that listened, thank you. And I will see you in the next one.